This CRM Audio Quick Take is brought to you by CRMUG. The user group for Dynamics 365 and CRM community is powered by users for users and specializes in the delivery of member-driven education, networking, and events to help you maximize your current Microsoft Dynamics investment. Remember, you've got until next Friday, the 20th, to submit your proposals for speaking at CRMUG Summit 2018. One of the reasons people buy Dynamics 365 is for master contact management. They are fed up with having multiple people having their own Rolodexes, be that an Outlook or paper Rolodexes of contacts, and they want to have a single source of contact data so that anybody who works with their customers has up-to-date contact information so users can easily track their contacts and benefit from that. So the dream is one record per contact, always up-to-date data, available to multiple users, and seeing connections and relationships between people. Unfortunately, the reality is sometimes a little bit more messy than that. It's very common to have duplicate contacts, both in Outlook and inside of Dynamics 365, incomplete data where we only have an email address and don't have a phone number, missing relationships where we have somebody at maybe an old employer, and as a result, users don't trust the copy in CRM, so they still maintain shadow copies in their own Outlook and Excel and in many different places. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about some strategies that you can use to clean up your contacts and keep them clean. The first thing is, at a basic level, you should be using duplicate detection rules. But what you need to know about duplicate detection rules is they're not really duplicate prevention rules. They're more duplicate suggestion rules. They match on create or update, and they suggest based on exact matches either to the full field value or the first few letters. They don't prevent creation of duplicates. When you hit save and you get flagged with a duplicate detection flag, you can still hit save. It doesn't stop you. They don't do fuzzy matching. They won't handle the William, Bill, Billy scenario where you got the same contact with different names in there. Some recommendations. Alternate keys, I think, are something everybody should use. Unless there's a reason you have to have duplicates in your system, if you only have one contact per, or one record per contact, you can set up an alternate key that, for example, uses the last name and the email address and will prevent people from creating additional contacts that match that key. You should also regularly check your data for duplicates. At a basic level, you can use the duplicate detection functionality within Dynamics 365, or you can use some power tools. Many of our customers use things like SQL and do queries. KingswaySoft can actually merge records, so there's a number of tools you can use to periodically check and automate the merging of records. One thing I like to do is, once you find out how bad your duplicates are, identify the source of those duplicates. You can do that, for example, by looking at who's creating the duplicates and then figuring out why they're creating the duplicates. Some things that we've seen sometimes is that your process can sometimes unintentionally cause duplicates to be created. I call it duplicates by design when your design is creating duplicates. One is hyper lockdown security. If I have security lockdown so I can only see my records, when I search for someone, I won't find them, so I'll probably go create a new copy of them. And that's why I recommend thinking through your security requirements and making sure, if you are going to lock everybody down, are we sure that every person is only going to work with that contact, or is there reasons? For example, we've got multiple locations of a company and this person plays a role at multiple places. So look at your security. Look at your source data. Sometimes the duplicates come from the source data. Many insurance companies have grown through acquisition and have multiple systems. And so as a result, they've got John Smith in multiple systems. Maybe he's got an auto policy in one, maybe he's got a life policy in the other. So you want to identify maybe it's a problem in your source data. Also, another common scenario is contacts created from web forms or trade shows or any place that contact data can get created is prone to cause duplicates if you don't engineer it properly. So somebody might come to your website, sign up for a white paper or a download or something, and use their Hotmail or Gmail account for their email address. That won't get triggered by your duplicate check, and now you've got 2 copies of the same person in there. One note about the Outlook client versus the Outlook app. I am a big fan of the app, and one of the reasons I am is it pops up duplicate detection notifications when you try and create a contact. Inside the legacy client, it doesn't pop up a duplicate. Now, if you have it set to check for duplicates upon tracking of contacts in the settings, it will prevent creation of the contact, but it will pop up and tell you. It won't pop up and tell you. It'll be in the log. And the same thing, if I update a contact, so now it triggers a duplicate scenario, it's going to not let me know that unless I look at the log. That's why I think the app should be considered, unless you have an extremely old version of Outlook or some other reason you can't run it. Another way it prevents duplicates is people on the Outlook client with Outlook synchronization. Every time you reinstall or reconfigure that client, it's going to duplicate your sync contacts inside of Outlook and likely cause some of them to get retracked and duplicate your contacts within CRM. So consider the Outlook app rather than the Outlook client if you can. For people that contact management is extremely important to, and I think it's important to everybody, but some industries it's really important. Financial services of certain types, high reputation businesses, those are the kinds of places where your contacts are super duper important. And in those cases, you may want to consider having a data steward. This doesn't have to be somebody fully dedicated to the job of duplicate detection, data quality, but it's somebody who has, as a regular part of their role, they're checking the system, checking the recent updates, merging duplicates. They may use some powerful tools like Prophecy. Profisee is a partner that we work with, and they're a very good MDM solution. But on a basic level, if you have a data steward who just is looking at recent updates and creations and running duplicate detection checks, that's one good way to keep your data clean. If you don't have the data steward, you still can do it. It's just a little bit more difficult. Let's talk about the problem with sync. Synchronization is a good thing of contacts. However, synchronization also has some challenges. One of those challenges is it's not the only thing synchronizing to your Exchange contacts. Other things like LinkedIn mobile app, Facebook mobile app, Twitter mobile app are all updating contact information. And we have seen situations where you have, for example, somebody changes phone number and it immediately gets switched back. That frequently is caused by there being another agent that is syncing and updating the contact information. Then CRM sees that changed, and then it brings it back in. This is especially a problem when you have the same contacts being synced by multiple users. It just exponentially increases the chance that some dirty data might get introduced there. You might want to, in those cases, consider an alternative. What I do is I don't synchronize contacts, but I use the Dynamics 365 app on my iPhone, and then I can easily look somebody up and call them. The one shortcoming there is if somebody calls me, and if they're not in my contacts, it doesn't say their name. So if you may want to take an alternate approach, the My Contacts default sync filter is probably not optimal for many people, and because unless you own contacts and you work with them, you have two extremes. Number one, I don't own any contacts, so I don't get any syncing, or the alternative, which is worse in my opinion, is you own thousands and thousands of contacts, you connect to Dynamics, and all of a sudden you've got 10,000 contacts inside of your contacts that can mess up your sync and many other things and make your contacts on your phone unusable. What you might want to consider is going to an alternative where instead of syncing all the contacts you own, create a framework where you can opt into the contacts that you synchronize. There's a standard view called Contacts That I Follow using the Activity Feed Follow functionality. You might want to consider using that to to whittle down the list of people that are going to be synchronizing with your phone. So those are just some tips. Again, it's not rocket science, but I think by taking a few steps and being intentional and proactive about it, you can get a lot better data quality in your CRM contacts and make your CRM contacts more usable and hopefully get that golden Rolodex. This has been CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast. Send us your feedback at voice@crm.audio. Check out our other shows at crm.audio or subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and any place else podcasts are offered. This podcast is a production of Dynamics Podcast, LLC.